Hey, what's going on, folks? It's Larry at Packmatch's Dog Training. Haven't been doing too many videos lately. I'm trying to ease up. It gets kind of tiring, and to be honest with you, almost anything you say in dog training today is going to ruffle a lot of feathers. It's kind of crazy. So I've been easing up. But I made a post earlier today on Facebook about the definition of punishment in dog training, and I said, in my opinion, it's a flawed definition. And what I asked was, what do you call that action when it doesn't stop a behavior? And then I also said, what do you call that action when it does stop a behavior, but there's no punishment involved? So it was just something to get people thinking. And of course, like always, there's a lot of people who get it, who understand it. There's a lot of people that it's going to piss off. Why? I have no idea. I have no idea. They're going to want to argue everything. But my point is, too often in dog training, no matter what side of the coin you fall on, we tend to simplify things very easy, especially lately. I see it over and over and over. A dog has a behavioral problem, and the whole solution is just correct or punish harshly, and the behavior will stop. That's not always true, not even close. As a matter of fact, if it was, there'd be no such thing as dog trainers. No one would need us. Anyone can do that on their own, okay? And just to make things clear, I'm not anti-corrections. I'm not anti-punishment. I'm not a purely positive trainer. And that's exactly the reason why I'm talking about this, because it needs to be talked about more. But it seems like there's a segment of our dog training world that doesn't want to be honest about anything. And believe me, if you see some of the emails I've gotten from things I've said, they're not from purely positive trainers. They're from so-called balanced trainers who get really pissed off when they don't agree with something. Well, you don't have to agree with it. The things I talk about is how I think, how I train. I've had pretty good success for a long time. I don't expect anyone to do what I do or agree with what I do. I'm just telling you what I do when people ask. But let's get back to the corrections and punishment part, why I said what I said. Okay? If you have a dog with unwanted behavior, okay? Let's say things like jumping on people, nipping, barking, digging, chewing on your furniture, a lot of the really common behaviors. Normally, usually, most of the time, if not all of the time, well-timed corrections or punishment, whatever you want to call it. Let's not get into technical terms. Let's not play that bullshit game, okay? But well-timed corrections at the appropriate level will almost always stop those behaviors. No doubt about it. It's pretty black and white. It's very simple, okay? You have to make those behaviors very uncomfortable for the dog. And that's done best by doing it at a high enough level and quick enough to where you're not doing it over and over and over and just becoming a pain in the ass nag, because in that case, the dog learns to adapt to the little corrections. And as you elevate the level of corrections, the dog adapts very quickly. So in something like that, you want to start at the appropriate level to stop the behavior quickly. No doubt about it. That's going to work most of the time, if not all of the time. That's a behavior. That's an action performed by the dog that the dog does have complete control over doing or not doing. Very simple. You make it pleasant for the dog, he's going to keep doing it. You make it unpleasant for the dog, he's going to stop doing it. Where we run into problems is when we simplify all unwanted behaviors and we talk about just implementing high-level corrections or punishment. For example, what I call mindset behaviors. So the behaviors I just mentioned before are behaviors that the dog has complete control over and many times doesn't understand that they shouldn't be doing them. They've never been taught, okay? But when we have issues with a mindset behavior, such as, certain cases of aggression or fear or anxieties or phobias, these are things that are not black and white and not always that simple. These are things that take a lot of know-how And sometimes the first approach isn't going to work, and we have to use many different things to solve these issues, because it's what's upstairs in the dog's head that are creating these problems. So implementing a harsh correction or punishment for a lot of these behaviors, it doesn't work. It's not going to work. Sometimes it will, but many times it doesn't. So what do you do then? All right. Now, I talk to a ton of young not just young trainers, all trainers. Private emails, phone calls. Many of you know this because I respond. And they do it privately because they don't want to be ridiculed. But a lot of trainers run into problems with certain behaviors, and they have trouble. And we talk. And it's usually, they run into problems when good corrections and punishment doesn't work. And most of the times with these mindset issues with dogs, it's a lot more complicated than that, guys. It just is. It just is. So simplifying something to say you just make it very uncomfortable for that dog and they'll stop, that's bullshit. That doesn't always work. It doesn't. Like I said, with the simple behaviors that the dog has complete control over, like jumping on people and nipping and barking, absolutely. It's why underground fences work, guys. Okay? A dog learns if he crosses that border, he gets a pretty harsh correction, and it makes it very unpleasing to the dog, and they won't do it anymore. But now, let's say that dog had a tremendous phobia of that backyard, was deathly scared of being in that backyard for some reason. That underground fence might not keep that dog in there. He might take that correction to get out of there. Do you understand what I'm saying? And that might be a poor example, but it is an example. So lately I've talked several times about what I think are the most difficult cases, and that's dog-on-dog aggression within the same home. And I deal with it a lot. I've documented some of it. I've taken videos of some of it. I've written about it. I've talked about it. As far as I'm concerned, there's no harder case. And I've done a lot of them over the years, and I've had tremendous success. I've had a lot of success, but like I say all the time, it's not because of me. It's not because of me. I have a small part to do with it. It's because I have the ability to teach the owners, train the owners, educate the owners. I spend time with the owners, and the owners have to change everything that they're doing in the home that created those behaviors. And you've heard me say it time and time again. How you live with your dog dictates how your dog lives with you. So I've had success with these cases because of what the owners are capable of changing and committing to doing. They're rock stars, okay? I tried thinking back into every case I worked with, the worst ones, and I haven't been able to come up with one of those cases where I ever corrected or punished any of that aggression. Not one time. Again, not because I'm anti-punishment or anti-corrections, I'm not. Because there is no way in God's green earth that would solve those problems. It just wouldn't happen. It doesn't work. I separate the dogs. I train them one at a time, separately. Okay? I do the best work I can do with each dog separately. And then the real work comes when I sit down with the owners and we start working and we go over a game plan inside the home. Now, I only consider that 100% successful when one of those dogs passes on, okay, over the rainbow bridge and is no longer with us, and there's never been another fight. And up until this point, knock on wood, we've been doing very, very well. I haven't gotten that call yet that the dogs went back to killing each other. I posted a video of Duke and Herc the other day. I can't remember, it was in the same crate or on the same bed, laying there. These are two pit bull mixes that were killing each other. Came to me with staples in their neck. Do you think that if I would have kicked the shit out of those dogs, that the second they were left alone, they wouldn't try killing each other again? No, they would. They would. It would not work. So, as dog trainers, hopefully, we all want to do the best job possible. There's no doubt about that. I don't think anyone has any ill intentions. And I think what each one of us does, we probably think is what works best. Or else we wouldn't be doing it, correct? But I can tell you this. What I was doing 15 years ago, I thought I was doing what was best at the time. I thought I could do no better. what I'm doing works best. 15 years later, today, I wasn't even close to being right. Not even close, okay? And a lot of that comes from working with a lot of dogs over time. But a big part of that is working with different types of dogs. When I say different types, I don't mean different breeds or different cases. I mean on the working dog side and the pet dog side. I've done both a lot, and it's helped me a great deal. You don't see me posting things and giving people advice on scent detection, scent work, agility, dock diving, because I don't do those things. So I don't comment on it. So a lot of people who come at me and get pissed off and comment on things I say, they've never worked in many different fields of dog training. All right? So I said I don't use prong collars a while back and shit hit the fan. What the fuck do you care if what I use and don't use? It makes no sense. Worry about yourself. But these are things we have to speak more openly about, because too many young trainers, too many dog owners are under the impression that if my dog has an unwanted behavior, I just knock the shit out of it real good one time and it's going to go away. And it's not the truth, guys. And when we try to push that on people, we're not doing our industry any justice. And we have to. We have to keep moving forward. And we have to take the offensive, not the defensive, in protecting the way we train with the tools we use. And, we have to be able to make our own decisions and govern ourselves, because you don't want it falling into the wrong hands. But what we tend to do is we take the defensive. And then when some city passes some ban on a dog training tool, then everyone's all crazy and wanting to put stuff forward and do things and be proactive. That's bullshit. That's when you're on your ass, on the balls of your ass, and you're taking the defensive. I don't take the defensive. You take the offensive. So put the good stuff out there. Okay, but we have to keep educating, but you have to think about this stuff. It's not always that simple. It's not always black and white. And yes, it is. Sometimes it is. It's not always. So we have to keep an open mind. As balanced trainers, you have to keep an open mind. There's too many balanced trainers that are very closed-minded right now. Okay? We have Zach George and Victoria Stilwell to handle that. Let them do what they do. All right, because they cause a lot of harm to the dog training industry by putting out lies and bad information that are getting dogs killed on a daily basis. They are fantastic at that. Let them handle that. But as balanced trainers, we need to keep an open mind, work together, and not be so one-sided. Okay? If I see someone who's putting out tremendous work and their dogs look absolutely incredible all the time, I don't give a damn if he's been training dogs for 6 months. I'm going to figure out what he's doing, and I'm going to learn what he's doing. Because you have to put ego and arrogance aside, and this industry is filled with egos and arrogance. It's disgusting. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I got the emails and the phone calls that if I started showing people, it would ruffle a lot of feathers, because I'm getting dogs, aggression cases, that have been to really good trainers, very popular trainers, but once harsh punishment failed, the people are left out to dry. And we can't do that, guys. We just can't do it. Got to keep moving forward, but just think about why I said that post, and just keep an open mind. That's it. It's not always that simple as punishing or correcting a behavior. That's the whole point of it. Not anti-punishment, not anti-corrections. I hope you understand that. But I find myself using very, very little corrections in dog training. I just do. There's a reason for it. Okay? There's a reason for it. Dog training is better today than it's ever been before. And guess what? 15 years from now, when we look back, I'm going to say, shit, I wasn't so great what I was doing. Because it gets better every day. Easier on the dog, easier on the owners, easier on the trainers. It's a beautiful thing. It's Friday. Go grab yourself a drink. Grab the weekend by the balls. Make a dog think you're awesome today. Peace.